How to farm spell tomes. Spell tomes, originally added to the Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion via the Spell Tomes DLC, act as an alternative method of learning spells. By using a spell tome in your inventory, you can add the spell contained within to your spell list, though you'll still need a high enough skill in the appropriate school of magic before you can cast the spell you've learned. Players of Skyrim will be familiar with this system, as Skyrim uses this as the sole means of learning new spells. Farming spell tomes in Oblivion Remastered is pretty easy, as long as you know the right locations. This guide will break down how the game distributes spell tomes as loot, list off some of the most efficient farming locations, and also touch on a few non-respawning sources of spell tomes that can prove useful. Please excuse any mispronunciations by TTS, the English TTS has trouble with non-English words. But, if you watch Zentria, you should be fine. Warning, warning. This article may contain spoilers. This disclaimer is added by default, so this article may or may not contain spoilers. How spell tomes are distributed in Oblivion Remastered. Since spell tomes were originally added to Oblivion via DLC, the game uses a rather interesting method of spreading them throughout Cyrodiil. Whenever a spell scroll would be included in the random loot in any given container or on any given enemy, there is a chance, roughly 1 in 4, that it will be replaced by a spell tome instead. This means that the methods mentioned further on in this article will also be useful if you're looking to collect lots of spell scrolls. How to find Conjurer dungeons in Oblivion Remastered. Conjurer dungeon boss chests are guaranteed to contain scrolls, so these are great places to look for spell tomes. Easily the best of these, among those that respawn, is Fort Rails. This fort is found northwest of Chorol and contains 2 respawning boss chests in its deepest area, Fort Rails, Hall of Winter. These chests usually contain scrolls, which means you have very good odds of getting spell tomes from them. In order to progress deeper into Fort Rails, you'll need to find a way to open the gates next to the glowing statues. The trick here is the silver arrows lying on the ground nearby, since they'll cause the statues to react when they touch the glowing portion. You can accomplish this by shooting the statues with a bow, or by dropping a single arrow, grabbing it, and manually tapping it against each statue's head. Take the right path to reach a hall that splits off to the left and right, with the path to the right curving and leading to a gate. Turn left first and pull the rightmost lever in that dead end to open the gate, then head back and through the gate to reach the Hall of Winter. The first chest is found in the room across the bridge at the top of the stairs, in the Hall of Winter, while the second is found to the right of the stairs in the corner. Each has a roughly 0.75 chance of containing a spell tome, but since the dungeon is short and the loot respawns, it's a very efficient way to grab some tomes. Another good conjurer dungeon for farming spell tomes is Seatadar, an allied ruin found between the Imperial City and Skingrad, which contains 3 boss chests. As an added bonus, there is a trapdoor that functions as the exit from the dungeon after you complete it, which can be used to re-enter in a perfect position to loot one of the boss chests, making return visits for farming spell tomes incredibly easy. How to find Necromancer dungeons in Oblivion Remastered. One of the best places to find spell tomes is in the hands of necromancers or within boss chests found in their lairs. One such location is Moss Rock Cavern, north of the Imperial City, which is an excellent place to track down some spell tomes. Moss Rock Cavern can be found north of the Imperial City at the position shown on the map above. Both of the boss-level chests, which have the best odds of containing spell tomes, can be found by heading straight ahead from the entrance, through the first chamber, and following the tunnel that curves left to a locked door. Both of the boss chests are in the room past this door, guarded by an adept necromancer. If you want to get the key to this door, instead of picking the lock, you'll need to take the path to the right in the first chamber and navigate all the way to the furthest end of Moss Rock Cavern, where a non-respawning necromancer's chest contains the key. Since necromancers often have spell scrolls on them, and thus the potential for spell tomes, it's worth clearing out all the necromancers you can find in this dungeon on each visit. Since the loot respawns, excluding the necromancer's chest, you can farm this dungeon for spell tomes at your leisure. If you want to track down even more Necromancer dungeons, following the Mages Guild quest line will lead you to many of them, and you can also find the Allied Ruin, Haim, southeast of Cheydinhul. The latter has 2 boss chests, making it a decent option for efficiently farming spell tomes. Thanks for watching, please sub and like to support future content. Linktree in description to support social. Like, subscribe, and comment any games you want to know more about. Help me build this channel, so I can afford an editor, and start making gameplay and tutorial videos. One-time sources of spell tomes in Oblivion Remastered. There are a few locations, quests, and NPCs that will usually yield a good number of spell tomes, but cannot be repeated. Hitting these early on is a good way to snag a decent number of spell tomes, but remember that you can only claim them once, so it might be worth saving some for higher levels. Here are the big ones. The Conjurer NPC. After starting a new game, this NPC will spawn outside Fort Cedrian and begin making their way toward the player. When they reach you, they will immediately attack. On death, they will always have a spell tome on them. The Spell Tomes DLC added this NPC to serve as an introduction to the system, so they're pretty hard to miss. Through a Nightmare, Darkly Quest. This quest, available from Kud-Ei at the Mages Guild in Breville, rewards 6 spell scrolls on completion. Due to the way spell tomes are distributed, you'll usually end up with at least 1 spell tome, the average is 1.5, and you can save the game before speaking to Henantier and keep reloading until you get the tome you want. This is probably the best way to guarantee getting the exact tome you're after. A Mage's Staff quest. During the Mages Guild quest line, you'll eventually receive this quest. On completing it, your new mage staff will be left in a cupboard in the Chironaceum. When you open this cupboard, it will also contain 5 random spell scrolls, which means there's a decent chance of rolling at least 1 spell tome, the average is roughly 1.25. It's worth noting that the contents of this container will never respawn. The Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion Remastered. Released, April 22, 2025. Developed by Infinity Ward, and Raven Software. Available on PC, Xbox One, Android, iOS, PS4, Switch. Released on March 10, 2020. ESRB rating, M for mature.